Hey, awesome people. Today I just want to talk about how to build a coaching and business model that you absolutely love and that you're excited to deliver. And this all started from a conversation I had with a client last week where simply they were running their business and they felt like they were trapped in the delivery of their service. They felt like they were doing it just for the sake of the fact that they inherited it, or this is just the way that it's always been done. And they just simply felt trapped. And I feel like there are so many coaches, especially consultants as well, that either are watching people online or maybe even in themselves, they're just doing it the way that they've always done it. And quite simply, they feel like they're stuck in a little jail, which is their business. And that's the worst way to live your life, where you're stuck in the delivery of your service and not actually excited and waking up to do the thing that you were actually born to do and that you're absolutely incredible at doing. So hopefully by sharing these things in this video today, it'll make it a lot easier for you to approach your business model and just re-examine it and look at ways you can create more flow, more ease, and then also essentially to optimize more for your energy and excitement, and then also for client results as well. So first of all, I just want to ask you a simple question, and it might sound a bit loaded, but just bear with me. Do you feel excited by your current business model? Now, right now you might be like, no, and that's okay. Or you might be like, there's some things that I like, some things I don't like. Or you might just simply say to me, Rob, like, you know what, I feel really aligned. I love my business model at the moment, which is amazing. But it's good to just check in. But if you're sitting here right now watching this and just thinking to yourself, you know what, this business model isn't really working for me right now, that is completely okay. And it's important to recognize that. I know earlier this year, my model was 4 days out of 5 days, I was on 8 hours a day of calls, like literally on calls for 8 hours. And so I was so drained. Like, I love these clients, but I was just like completely done in terms of energy. And it just wasn't, the most exciting version of maybe potentially what I could do and help people with. And so it was really important for me to recognize the fact that this wasn't the way that it should be. And that's okay. Or looking at other people's business models and comparing yourself is the first way to actually come out of alignment with, how you're actually created to run your business. You got to really think and really reflect and do the hard questions to think, you know what, am I excited about my current coaching business model? And if you're not, there's actually ways in which you can change that. So the next thing I want to encourage you to do, if you're not, or if there's elements that you're thinking about, is to simply write down all of your deliverables. What I mean by that is, for client acquisition, if you're currently doing sales calls, you might ask yourself, you know what, do I actually love sales calls or do I not like sales calls? Because the truth of the matter is that if you don't like sales calls, you can sell in the DM, you can use a trust funnel. There's so many different ways that you can eliminate sales calls from your calendar if you don't like sales calls. Some people, they wake up every day and they're excited for sales calls. They love the energy of sales calls and meeting people in that way for the very first time. But for some of you, you might be like, you know what, I want to remove sales calls. The truth of the matter is, a lot of these things is actually stripping things away to make things more simple, to make you more excited, because often complexity actually stifles growth or even stifles excitement for you. So an example like that might be sales calls, and the option around that could be selling in the DMs or using the trust funnel. So what you do is you'd write down all those things. For example, say if it's client acquisition and it's the sales calls, it might be re-examining that. Now, going through your deliverables, if you provide a support call, so let's say you take a 30-minute call a week, whether you consider doing that a fortnight, whether you would consider doing that as a community call, whether putting people in a community, so that way you're not fielding the same questions at every coaching call, but in a community, people can ask their questions and you can add value to people all at the same time. If you feel like you're at a place where you're repeating the same thing on each of these one-on-one calls, doing it all together in a coaching call on a community call, you're able to then, everyone can hear at the same time and then still have their questions answered. So what I'm trying to say is there's so many different ways you can structure things for more excitement and more alignment for you. Now, taking down all those things, your current deliverables, I want you to think about these two, like you can almost call them columns if you're writing them down. But firstly, cost, and then secondly, value. So firstly, is it high or low cost for you to deliver? So for example, actual like Zoom coaching calls might be really high cost for you right now, but dialing it back, you might think, you know what, I might do it just simply on the phone or as Zoom audio, or you could go the complete other way and even just do Slack support. So simply just by text or voice memos on Slack or WhatsApp. There's so many different ways of, pivoting it in a way where it makes you more excited. Now, it could simply be for a season you do this just to bring the excitement back, but there's so many different ways you can deliver it that for some clients, they might actually really enjoy that. Some clients might get stressed being on Zoom, and you might think that's the only way to do it, when reality is they might be excited by the fact of having, Slack support and, using voice memos in that way as opposed to a full call. So actually examining, is it high or low cost for you? Each of these things. And if it's significantly high cost for you, whether you keep it or not depends on maybe the second column, which would be value. Is it high value or low value for a client? Now, once you've examined those two columns for each of your deliverables, it makes things really easy to start stripping away the complexity of your business to actually create a lot more fun again and a lot more excitement again, because you can look at each of those points and think, what are these things I'm excited to deliver on? Now, if something is high cost for you and low value for a client, I'd really, really recommend you reconsider that as part of your delivery. And sometimes if you're running a coaching business for a long time, those things creep in over time. And it's not until you actually put it down on paper or type it out that you actually look at it and think, oh man, I've been doing that for a while and it's just the way I've been doing things, and it's really high cost for me. I really hate doing it. And it's low value for the client. Why on earth would I be doing that? So by putting on a page, you can actually strip away the complexity of it and actually look at each of the things you're actually really excited to deliver on. So we've covered, are you excited about your current coaching business model? We've covered, how to go through systematically each of those things to make sure that your delivery or even your client acquisition process is something you're excited by. Lastly and finally, I just want to encourage you this, and it's a bit more of a mindset thing, but it's simply this: to hold your standards, to set your standards. Now, this is a tough one because once you've pivoted and changed your model, and even mentioning this with clients and working this through with clients and even new clients, for you, it's what you have known is most comfortable. So it's so easy to go back to that. Or maybe if clients offer you more money to do things that you previously would have done in an old model, it can kind of help, over time can rub away at your standards. But I encourage you to hold your standards, to set your standards, to be intentional about it, because your business is going to be built by accident. It's going to be built by intention. And so it's really important that once you've set that, you keep that, you're able to build in that way. There's a way in which when you hold your standards, set your standards, and you're able to build a business that you love, over time, it begins to scale and grow in a way where you never thought it could have possibly happened if you only set your standards and held them for the amount of time that you needed to do that. But ultimately, no one else is going to lead you except yourself. And when you get really, really clear on these things, man, I can't tell you the excitement, the release, even the growth that will happen in your business when you show up more authentic, more aligned, and more excited to help your clients deliver results for your clients, and then ultimately make the world a better place. So I hope this helps you today, and I will see you in the next video.